Okay, so the last few days there's been a few pretty big fight announcements. Merab Dvalishvili is fighting Henry Cejudo now, and Dariush is fighting Arman Tsarukyan, and Curtis Blaydes has pulled out of his fight with Jailton Almeida, and Derek Lewis stepped in. These are all pretty big announcements, so I'm going to go over each of them. I'm going to give some early predictions, and we're just going to talk about them. So first one I want to talk about is Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. Out of the three fights, I think this is probably it's probably the best fight skill-wise. It's probably the biggest fight name value-wise. Henry Cejudo is a big name in the sport, and his fight is very important for the bantamweight division. Winner would undoubtedly get a title shot, assuming Sean O'Malley is still the champion. If Aljo becomes champ and Cejudo wins this fight, like if Aljo got a rematch and won, and Cejudo wins this fight, they probably won't do that again. But assuming Sean O'Malley is still champ, I assume the winner, this is probably going to fight him for the belt. I think this is a very competitive fight, and it's very hard to say who's going to win. I'm leaning toward Merab, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cejudo gets it done. I do think if anybody in the division could get it done, my two guys that I would pick on the division to be like the best opponent to beat Merab would be Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong. I'd probably pick Song Yadong to win. I think you need to you have to be good enough at you have to have good enough takedown defense to stop his takedowns, which his takedowns aren't the best to begin with. He has kind of made a career out of failing takedowns, at least recently. He doesn't have the best takedowns. He's not the best at getting people down and controlling them. He just is relentless with his pace, and that's kind of how he wins. Like, he didn't win against Petr Yan by taking him down and beating him up. He won by failing takedowns and holding him against the cage. He did the same thing to Jose Aldo. I'm not knocking the style or anything. I'm just saying that that's how it goes. So to beat him, you have to stop the takedowns like Petr Yan and Aldo did. But then you also, I think you just have to knock him out, because you're not going to outpace him, and you're probably not going to be able to outpoint him if he's just holding you against the cage the whole fight. So you got to stop the takedowns, and then you got to be a good enough striker with enough power to just put him out. And that's basically it. If Petr Yan had the right moments and he had a little more power, he probably could have won that fight. He could lose like 4 rounds out of 5, but then win at the end, you know? We saw Merab get hurt really bad against Marlon Moraes. Marlon Moraes hits really hard. He's a very good striker. He's very athletic and very fast, and he was able to catch Merab. But Marlon Moraes wilts after 2 minutes of fighting, and so Merab ended up finishing him later in the round. So my thoughts on this one are that Cejudo has the wrestling credentials and just the wrestling skill all around to most likely stuff Merab's takedowns. I don't see Merab getting Cejudo down and controlling him. I think Cejudo's probably the better wrestler. So I think this is going to be a striking match, sort of. It's going to be a striking match and a clinch match. And it's just will Merab be able to push Cejudo up against the cage and hold him there and, dirty box him the whole fight? Or will Cejudo be able to stick and move and land his shots and get out of the way and not get held against the cage? If he can do that, I think he'll win. But if he can't do that, obviously Merab will, he'll 50-45 him if he can't do that, because that's what Merab does. I think Cejudo has the ability to do it. I just don't know if Cejudo is going to get any better. I guess I'm leaning toward momentum on this one. That might be the main reason I'm picking Merab, because when I really think about their skills, Cejudo's a better striker. Merab's just not that great of a striker. And I think Cejudo's a better wrestler. But Merab just has such a cheat code with his cardio and his relentless pace and pressure. He just doesn't let you breathe. And yeah, that makes up for the skill gap, I think. Because I don't think Merab is one of the most skilled guys in the top 10. I'm not saying that he's not a great fighter. He is. I do think most other guys in the top 10 are better than him in most areas. I think Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo have better grappling all around. I think Sean O'Malley is a better striker. Song Yadong, Petr Yan, better strikers. Sandhagen, better striker. Aljo has better jiu-jitsu. But he has a brutal pace that nobody can really keep up with. So I think to beat him, they're going to have to finish him. And it's hard to really bet on someone landing that one punch that they need to land. And I don't see Cejudo doing it, but I'm like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Cejudo wins. I'm edging toward Merab. I think it's borderline a 50-50 fight. it's like a 45-55 in favor of Merab. So yeah, I'm going to go with Merab by decision. I don't see him finishing Cejudo. It's hard to believe Merab finishes someone that tough and that experienced. So yeah, I'm going with Merab. The other fight I want to talk about that I'm very excited about is Arman Tsarukyan and Dariush. This is a hard one for me to pick. Dariush is coming off a really bad loss to Charles Oliveira, and Tsarukyan is coming off of a pretty mediocre win against Joaquin Silva, where he didn't look great, to be honest, but it was a short notice fight. Joaquin Silva went in there with nothing to lose, and he gave it his all, and he was able to catch Tsarukyan at one point, because Tsarukyan has some like funky boxing. It's just not good. He has really good kicks, really fast, powerful kicks. His boxing's not all there. His boxing defense isn't all there. His grappling is obviously amazing. I think most people are picking Tsarukyan to win this fight. Probably based on the fact that Dariush looked pretty bad in his last outing against Oliveira. I'm trying not to judge Dariush too much off that Oliveira fight, because if you really paid attention to Dariush's career, that's like the worst he's looked in a long time. He's looked really good in most other fights. I don't know if it was like the bright lights got to him, or if Oliveira is just that much better than him. He looked pretty bad in that one, but I don't think Tsarukyan is Oliveira. He's not on the same level. We saw with Dariush versus Gamrot. And remember, Gamrot and Tsarukyan had an extremely close fight. Gamrot edged the decision. It could have gone either way. Most people think Tsarukyan should have got it. Either way, it was razor close. But Dariush completely shut Gamrot down in the grappling. And then he dropped him on the feet, and he outstruck him the whole fight. Dariush has weird striking. It doesn't look the best on a technical level, but it's clearly effective, and he hits hard, and he's tough, and he has great jiu-jitsu. I know he didn't get the better of Oliveira on the ground, but it's not like he was lost down there. Like most guys go to the ground with Oliveira, and it's over. They get submitted right away, unless your name's Islam Makhachev or Dariush, because Dariush was able to get on top of him, and he got beat up a little bit with elbows, but he was landing his own shots. He was perfectly competent on the ground with Oliveira, and that's very difficult for most guys. Most guys can't say that. So I don't see Tsarukyan's grappling being a huge threat for Dariush. I think Dariush has probably the greatest takedown defense ever at lightweight, possibly. It's amazing. His takedown defense is incredible. People talk about Justin Gaethje's amazing takedown defense. People need to respect Dariush's takedown defense more, because it's so good. So I think this will also end up being a striking match. These grappler-on-grappler matches tend to turn into striking matches. And I just don't trust Tsarukyan's boxing. I could see him getting caught by Dariush over and over and over again. Dariush also has weird striking. It's not the best, but he hits so hard. I am leaning toward him getting a finish on the feet. Maybe like a standing TKO. Maybe he rocks Tsarukyan, and Tsarukyan goes down, and Dariush gets on top of him, lands a few ground and pound shots. They call it off. That's kind of how I see it going. Yeah, I know most people are picking Tsarukyan, and it makes sense. Tsarukyan's the young up-and-comer. Dariush just lost. He's a little older. He could look really bad in this fight, and if he does, then I think it's safe to say that's the end of him and his career. But I think he'll get this one. I think he's still top 5 material. And yeah, I think he's going to stop Tsarukyan within the distance. And so the last fight I want to talk about is Curtis Blaydes pulled out of his fight against Jailton Almeida, which was going to be a great fight and a great test for Jailton Almeida, because Curtis Blaydes is like, he's been the wrestler at heavyweight for a while now. And Jailton Almeida, this super juiced up Brazilian with his crazy grappling skills, finishing everybody, coming up in the ranks. And Curtis Blaydes was supposed to be his first like real test, because he's just walked through everybody he's fought so far, but he hasn't fought the who's who of the heavyweight division yet. And it makes sense ranking wise that Derek Lewis is filling in. I don't like this fight though, because Derek Lewis got completely ragdolled by Sergey Spivak not that long ago. And Derek Lewis has been ragdolled a few times, and he's on the decline. I guess I just wanted a more well-rounded opponent to test Jailton Almeida, because against Derek Lewis, all he has to do is make sure he doesn't get hit with that big power shot, which I know that's going to be like a difficult task. But where Derek Lewis is at in his career, if Jailton Almeida gets his hands on him and gets him down and ragdolls him and submits him, I'm not going to be like, oh, Jailton Almeida is the next big monster in the heavyweight division. He might be, but taking down and ragdolling Derek Lewis like Sergey Spivak did is not as impressive as, say, Tom Aspinall taking down and instantly submitting Alexander Volkov. You know, we saw what happened to Spivak when he fought Aspinall. He got destroyed in the first round. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to rate the win too highly. I do expect Jailton Almeida to finish Derek Lewis in the first round. If he doesn't, he might grind out a decision. If Derek Lewis wins, his only chance is, that lucky KO punch at some point in the first. And I'm sure Derek Lewis knows that. And honestly, if I would be surprised if Derek Lewis comes out slow in this fight. I would completely expect him to come out there guns blazing like he did in his last outing, because I think he knows that's his only chance. He needs to go out there and he needs to get in Almeida's face and just swing bombs, and that's how he'll win. And I don't think he will, but if he does, that's how he's going to do it. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer replacement fight for me. I know Derek has the name value and he has the ranking spot, so it makes sense. But I would have preferred to see Jailton Almeida fight like a Marcin Tybura, a Volkov, maybe a Sergey Spivak coming off a loss. Just somebody a little more well-rounded, somebody a little more relevant at the top of the division, But it's still a good fight. These are all good fights. I'm excited to see all of them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. If you could subscribe, that would be cool. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.